Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to all of my Tauruses. If you are a Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, or North Node, this is your tarot reading for the upcoming month of October. And in case anybody is interested, I will be using the Every Little Thing You Do is Magic tarot deck. I just got this deck recently, and I am in love with the symbolism. You guys will fall in love in just a few moments, I guarantee it. So, with all of that said, let's see what October has in store for all of you Tauruses. These cards did not hesitate to come out. So, we have, interesting, we have the Champion of Cups, which is the Knight of Cups, the Five of Pentacles, the Fool, and then at the bottom of the deck was the Seven of Swords, and the Five of Swords was under the Seven of Swords as well, and Judgment was under the Five of Swords. So, Taurus. In the month of October, Taurus, you guys will be going through an intense period of inner battle. And because you're battling yourself, you may also start to see these same quarrels, and it's like petty fights, it's petty quarrels. You'll also see these petty quarrels emerge in your reality. It could be with your loved ones, it could be with random strangers, like you're just going grocery shopping and somebody rams their cart into you for no reason, and you're like, why is this happening? It's because there's some sort of there's a heaviness in my heart that I feel right now. There's something that you are ignoring, Taurus. There's something you're ignoring, and because you're ignoring it, whether it's an aspect of yourself or some sort of trauma that went unfelt that's like trying to emerge and you're trying to push it back into its box and you're like, no, we don't want to see that. We don't want to think about it. We don't want to feel it. You're actually doing more damage to yourself by not feeling it. Both the fives and the sevens are typically cards of loss. It's cards of betrayal. They're cards of just separation and and I want to emphasize too, the fighting is always a petty quarreling, especially with the fives. You have two fives. The fighting is always a petty quarreling. And the Five of Pentacles is leans more into that loss aspect of it. It's you fought so hard and it's almost as if you ignored every sign from your external that, like, if you just do this one thing, things will be okay. If you just feel this thing, if you just acknowledge something, if you just bring up a fight, and you guys are stubborn Tauruses. So even if you are in the wrong in a situation, you might lean too much into that prideful stubbornness to admit defeat, to admit that you're wrong, because you'd rather die on that hill and say, nope, I don't care if I was wrong. I still don't like the way they treated me because of that. And that's fine. You shouldn't have to handle disrespect if that's where this came up. But because you weren't able to at least acknowledge the fact that you were wrong within yourself, like you stood 10 toes down on business saying, like, no, like, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. Even though in the back of your head, you hear it. You're like, but what if you're not? But you're not, but you're not. And because you ignored that little voice, whether it was your intuition or your conscience, whatever that little voice was that was telling you, like, just, it's fine. Like, it'll be so much better if you just admit this. You still refuse to. And that's causing losses. It's causing this sense of loss and being not only lost in your physical environment, but feeling like you're lost in a storm, feeling this inner turmoil, like there's a blizzard in your mind and you can't see past or left or right or anything. And what's really interesting with this is the fact that since it's internal, it's something that you can fix, but because you let it get to this point where it's here, I'll show you this card again too. Show you both of these cards, the Five and the Seven of Swords. So the Five of Swords, it's this inner quarreling. You can see it's just one single snake eating its tail. So almost like a twisted up Ouroboros or Ouroboros. I never learned how to say that word correctly. um, so it's its own tail. It's a snake eating its own tail and just stabbed from the outside with one, two, three, four, five swords. So it's because you were battling yourself internally, you welcomed in those swords to come in from your external environment as well. And then that brings you to the Seven of Swords, where you're just fighting tooth and nail, you're thrashing, you're doing everything you can. And now you're alone on this barren battlefield. You can see the swords sprinkled around you of your foes, and you're just by yourself now. And I love that it's represented by the fox because it's the ultimate trickster. It's like it's saying like, yeah, you won, but at what cost? So that's something to really, really keep in mind in October. And I love that judgment is on the bottom of the deck with this one because it's like the universe offering an invitation to really look at yourself and not judge yourself. Despite what judgment says, it's a loving acknowledgement. It's maybe you've had a lack of clear judgment for too long that now the universe has to step in and say, girl, what have you been doing? Let's go over it. Let's acknowledge it. Let's feel it. Let's put our pride to the side and actually move through what we need to go through in order to heal. And that's where that Knight of Cups and that Fool energy comes in. So although this reading did start out with a lot of, and your month of October might start out like that too, where it feels like a battle in every direction, internal and external, with friends, with strangers, with loved ones, with yourself. But there is hope. There is hope to come, and that hope comes after this recognition. That hope comes after this contemplation. You can see, like, even the tiger's face, there's like it's a loving acknowledgement. It's recognizing, and there's a little bit of sorrow in that face because the tiger's recognizing, okay, what have I done here that's brought me to this moment? And sometimes what you've done that's brought you to this moment is not always happy and unicorn and glitters and rainbows. It's tough human things. It's real. And realness isn't always beauty. Realness isn't always aesthetic. It's not always luxury. Realness is real, no matter what that looks like. And so once you acknowledge what's going on within and externally, of course, that's where this hope comes in. You have the Knight of Cups, which is a very, very brave energy. I love that it's represented by the fish in this deck. Side note, I'm telling you, all of the symbolism of this deck is perfect for each card. Very animal and nature focused, but I like that. Sorry. Moving on. I love that this is in the depths because that's really what the Knight of Cups represents. It's a fearless movement into your own emotional body. And it's not only the movement within, it's being fearless in expressing that emotional body outwardly as well. So if you're finding that you're feeling some type of way about an argument, like you had with your coworker, or your friends, or your family, you're feeling really down about it, and you're feeling like you were in the wrong, and you're coming to that clear recognition where you're like, oh, it was me. It wasn't them. It's important that you step into that fearlessness, remove any stubbornness and ego from the equation, and have the strength and the bravery to say, okay, so guys, I messed up. I was wrong. I'm sorry if it needs to be said. And the depths, of course, this fish is down deep, but not too far from the surface, but it's going down a little bit deeper than maybe it's used to treading. And it's because you need to go into your own emotional depths to be able to feel safe enough to venture, to allow those emotional depths to be seen. But that acknowledgement needs to come from yourself first. You can't immediately just start bringing your emotions to the forefront because that's when you get into that explosive reactionary side of your emotions. They need to be acknowledged and understood first. You need to become the fish in the depths. You need to become the one that can navigate these waters before you just tidal wave them up for everybody else to deal with. So again, it's a bravery. It's a bravery. And unfortunately, not a lot of people are brave enough to venture in, especially when they know they're wrong. So it'll be up to you, Taurus. You guys are the bull. You're the bull. Bulls are bravery incarnate. Bulls are not afraid to charge headfirst at anything. But sometimes that charge, Taurus, needs to go back in yourself. You need to be fearless in going inward. And once you acknowledge that and you're able to actually navigate these depths, That's when you can come forward and explain, calmly let the people know what you're feeling, why you're feeling it, why you were so stubborn in being right. Let your loved ones understand where you're coming from. And once that understanding is, then you have the space now because you're not holding so tightly to things that are just begging to be released. You finally, oh, it's a freedom in release. It's a freedom. Once you're finally able to release these hurts on your heart, you're able to make space to bring in the other person's heart and find this mutual respect, this mutual understanding, this mutual awareness between you guys that helps you both grow individually and as partners or in your friendship or in your relationship, no matter what that looks like. There's a release coming. But Taurus, you have to make the decision to allow yourself to get to that point. But I feel that this collective is already moving towards that. And I should say I know because the Fool also came out in the spread. The Fool's here, which denotes clean slate, brand new beginnings. And we can only set out with that full energy when we're massively curious for what's around us. And we can't be curious if we're still holding on to those grudges and ailments from the past. We can't be curious if we're so tight and closed in our box and uninterested in what's going on in the world around us. So this is going to be the important first step before you can set off on this new beginning. If you try to charge forward with all of this 7 and 5 energy with a lack of judgment and without going into your own emotional field, it's just going to get more hectic. That blizzard, that internal blizzard I mentioned, is the winds are going to pick up. It's going to start hailing. It's going to be a lot where then you're going to force yourself back into hiding. And I like that this one's represented by the rabbit because if rabbit tries to go out when it's not clear of predators, and in this case the predators are in your head, they're in your heart, it's your own past wounds that are waiting to be acknowledged. If rabbit tries to go out into the field before it recognizes that it's clear of those predators, it's going to jump right back in its hidey hole and be like, I'm never leaving now. I'm never leaving. I'm never leaving. So if you try to force yourself into this new beginning before that healing occurs, you're going to actually bump yourself into the reverse. You're going to hide back in your hole. And Taurus, you guys are already people that don't like to emerge out of your houses in general. So, but this is like a healthy emergence. It's not a new beginning that's setting you out on this grand venture in your external. It's a new beginning that's just shifting the dial of your own awareness and your perspectives and your emotions and your health and your vitality and your wellness. So for yourself, Taurus, for yourself and your well-being, the October will be a month for you to really go within, for you to recognize what's going on. And if you're a Taurus rising, the sun's going to be transiting your seventh house. So if you are a Taurus rising, this might be more focused towards your close relationships and you healing yourself and you being able to go into those depths to heal yourself, to come in front of your partner with a loving awareness and a fearlessness and saying, this is my heart, this is my perspective, this is what I was feeling and why I was feeling it, why I was reacting the way I was reacting. I'm going to give it to you to do whatever you want with it. There's a bravery in that. There's a bravery in saying, this is me, take it or leave it. Oftentimes, if this is a relationship built from genuine love, they're obviously not going to leave it. They're going to take it and be like, I've been waiting for this. Here's my heart. Here's everything I've been feeling. So we can come to a mutual understanding. It's all about just meeting somebody at the same level. But if you're so closed up and tight and you don't want to see or do or feel anything, nobody can meet you there because humanity is, we move, we live, we breathe through our senses. We are animated because of our senses. And if you're trying so hard not to feel, you're removing yourself from humanity in that way. So it's a loving and fearless energy of saying, I am going into the depths so that I can emerge, so that I can love, so that I can be present, so that I can be fearless. Oh my goodness. Okay. Tried to pick up the deck to shuffle some more and it just exploded on me. Let's see. Jeez Louise. Well, Empress is at the bottom of the deck, and Empress energy aligns so well with Taurus energy, but we'll see. And Taurus. I'm not going to take the Empress out, but I will touch on it as I shuffle. As I just mentioned, Taurus or the Empress is like a Taurus energy, and Taurus loves luxury, which is something, one of the things that the Empress kind of rules over in the tarot. If you are able to go within and recalibrate yourself and get yourself back on track and be able to show yourself to the people you love most or the people you've been quarreling with, you're going to welcome in more opportunities to obtain that comfort that you're always seeking. You're going to align yourself back to where you were before before the storm started. And let me rephrase that. So you're not going to go back. Think about it like this. If you have this beautiful home right on the coastline, gorgeous, two-story, whatever, imagine your perfect home. All of a sudden, a hurricane comes through, category 5, tears right through it. It's crumbled to the ground. When you're rebuilding, you're obviously not going to rebuild the exact same property that you had before. Most likely, you're going to make it better. You're going to make it more sturdy because of how you saw how easily the hurricane ripped through. You're going to say, "Oh, maybe let's elevate it." So if the storm does come through, you'll be above the storm. Or if you want to keep that enclosed, you can do breakaway walls or whatever you're doing, you are making it so it's better and sturdier and safer and most likely more upgraded, more luxurious than it was before. And it's because you're using the wisdom that the storm brought you to rebuild in a way that will be better. So you're not going back, you're going forward, and you're using the past as a way to set those blueprints. But ultimately, it's going to be better. Your mindset is going to be better. What you're looking for, what you're doing, how you're showing up is going to be better than before. And it's because you are tapping into that wisdom. Wow. Okay. Brilliant. Brilliant. So, the last couple cards that came out, Ace of Cups, the Lovers, and the Eight of Pentacles. So, moving along with the Fool, this is just all three of these cards have such a positive, potent energy here. So, the Lovers does represent a choice. It's not just about romantic relationships, it's also about the choice to just show up more lovingly. Um, so that might just be what you're moving towards. It's that feeling of just expressing that love outwardly to everybody, to your loved ones, to those strangers you were quarreling with when the storm was still going on. It's a choice to show up and be the love that you're looking for. It could also represent relationships, though. So once you're more aligned, maybe you'll be finding more harmony in your own relationship if you are in one now, or your friendships, or you might be welcoming in a new relationship as well, because the Ace of Cups also came out, which can offer new beginnings in terms of emotional fulfillment, which could come in the form of relationships. It could also just be, again, just feeling more fulfilled within yourself. And I think that might be what this reading is more leaning towards. It's that personal fulfillment that you feel internally because you're like, I'm no longer ignoring the things that have needed to be felt and moved through for so long. And the Eight of Pentacles is all about hard work. And I think this goes into that earth sign energy and that need for security for you, Taurus. So once you sort through that storm, that inner turmoil, whatever's going on within, you're able to then use that space, use that clarity that you now have, where all of this energy was going towards not feeling what you needed to feel. Now you have boundless energy to put towards your hard work, to build that foundation again where you are able to make money and do things that you really love to do. Eight of Pentacles isn't just doing things, working hard for the sake of working hard. It's working diligently toward your own goals, towards what aligns with you, and using that alignment to then earn all of the income that you need. So it is a very focused and very diligent energy towards what you want to bring into fruition. And it's great for again reestablishing that foundation. Maybe, if your mental health or emotional health was swaying, you could have had issues with your job or your steady income or whatever it was. And this ability to go within, clear it out, is giving you that new opportunity for a new sense of growth. And again, it could be maybe if you have your own business, you could be either rebranding or restarting or just building more based on, again, making that steady foundation from the wisdom you gained through the storm and then building on top of that. So it's better than it was before. Everything is like it's like an up leveling for you guys, Taurus, in the month of October. And it's like the beginning of that up leveling. But again, first you need to go within in order to have that expressed in your outward reality. Everything starts within. Everything starts within. And Nine of Swords was on the bottom of the deck here, which I want to touch on for just a moment. It's important through all of this that you are getting the rest you need. You might feel restless, especially as you're moving through that inner turmoil. You might feel restless, you might have insomnia, you might be up at night, but it's so important that you prioritize rest as much as you can. And even if you're not like falling asleep at night that easily, laying down and closing your eyes still gives you that restfulness that you need. It might not be as much as you will need, but instead of just thrashing and turning and flipping and just try to lay as still as possible and close your eyes. And if headaches or anything or like neck or shoulder pain comes through, take care of that as you need to. If you need to stretch, if you need to take like ibuprofen or anything, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate through it all. I think as a society, we underestimate the amount of energy it takes to really clear out those emotional wounds and those mental, all the chaos that goes on within. We focus really heavily on our outward ailments. We have a lot of medicines for how to heal the body, but not necessarily the heart or the mind. So it is really important that you prioritize your physical health while you're moving through these mental and emotional walls. You need your physical strength to break down those walls. Don't underestimate the importance of that in this process. But Taurus, that was beautiful and eye opening, I hope. October will be a month about leveling up, but first you need to go within in order to set the foundation to be able to level up. Make the space before you try to grow. And with all of that said, this was a general reading, so maybe not everything will resonate. If that's the case, you can go to my website or my Patreon linked in my bio below. You can book with me directly on my website for tarot, astrology, or human design. I'll be offering courses shortly, so if you're interested, keep a lookout for that. If you have any questions, you can message me on my website or just message me on my Patreon as well. I'm always posting about different spiritual topics that interest me on there. So if you are interested, definitely check that out. I highly recommend. If you did like this reading, leave a like, leave a comment, maybe subscribe to my channel. And yeah, I would just love to hear your stories. If next month you come around and recognize that naturally you moved through all of this, leave a comment and tell me about it. I would love to hear your stories. But otherwise, Taurus, I love you guys. I love you guys. You have the strength and the stamina and everything you need to go within and clear out anything that no longer serves you. You're moving towards resourcefulness and togetherness and unity and just growth and again, up leveling. And I'm so excited to see where it takes you after you do that clear cutting. Take the machete, get everything down, and start anew. I believe in you guys. And I'll see you next time.